The Dog Who Stared at the Wall, and the Secret He Was Trying to Show. George Miller was 29 years old and living alone in a big city, far away from his family. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. After long days at work, he'd come home to silence. No voices, no one waiting for him. So one day, he made a decision that changed everything. He adopted a dog. That's how Crosby came into his life, and almost instantly, Crosby became more than just a pet. He was family. Crosby was loyal, playful, and unbelievably friendly. At the park, he tried to make friends with every animal he saw. Sometimes George practically had to drag him home because he never wanted the fun to end. But there was one animal Crosby loved more than anything: the neighbor's cat. The two of them acted like siblings, chasing each other, wrestling, causing chaos together for years. Then, within a short time, everything changed. The cat passed away. And another animal Crosby used to play with disappeared too. George was sad, but he didn't realize something important. Crosby was grieving too. At first, life went on like normal: walks, food, sleep. But slowly, Crosby started acting different. One evening, George came home exhausted from work, expecting the usual excited welcome. But Crosby didn't run to the door, didn't wag his tail, didn't even look at him. He was just standing in the living room, staring at the wall, completely still. George called his name. Nothing. He petted him. Nothing. He knelt down beside him. Still nothing. Just a blank stare at one exact spot, like he was watching something George couldn't see. Then suddenly, Crosby blinked, turned around, wagged his tail, and acted totally normal, like nothing had happened. George shrugged it off. Maybe it was a bug, or a shadow, something stupid. But that night, around midnight, George woke up thirsty and walked to the kitchen. As he passed the living room, he froze. Crosby was there again. Same place, same wall. But this time, he looked sad, deeply sad. That's when George knew. This wasn't random. Something was wrong. The next morning, George went to the store before work and bought a night vision camera. He didn't want guesses. He wanted answers. He set the camera facing the wall and left for the day. When he got home, he didn't check the footage immediately. He waited. Let it record another full day. He wanted proof. The next night, he finally sat down and pressed play. And what he saw made no sense. All day, Crosby acted normal. Eating, sleeping, playing. He never looked at the wall once. Not a single time. But the moment George walked into the room, Crosby immediately rushed to the wall and started staring again. Every time. Over and over. Only when George was there. Not when he was alone. It wasn't the wall. He wasn't looking at something. He was trying to show something. To George. The next day, George didn't say anything. Didn't distract him. He simply followed Crosby. He knelt exactly where the dog always stood, and looked closely. Tiny cracks in the wall. Loose paneling near the floor. Then he heard it. A faint sound. Scratch, scratch, from inside the wall. His heart started pounding. Slowly, carefully, he loosened a small wooden panel. Behind it was a dark, hollow space. He took a deep breath and reached inside. Dust, insulation, nothing. Then suddenly, something soft, small, warm, alive. He gently pulled it out, and his breath caught in his throat. A tiny kitten. Dirty, shaking, terrified. But alive. And unbelievably, it looked almost exactly like Crosby's old cat friend. That's when George understood everything. Crosby had found it, brought it home somehow, hidden it. And for days, he had been trying to tell George. Help, something's in there. They rushed the kitten to the vet. She was healthy, just starving and exhausted. No microchip, no owner. Probably a stray. George never planned on having a cat. But when he learned the shelter was overcrowded and her chances weren't good, There wasn't really a choice. He brought her home. Something amazing happened after that. Crosby changed. He was happy again, playful, goofy, like his old self. Like he finally got his friend back. George named the kitten Little Ray Ray. And just like that, their quiet apartment wasn't quiet anymore. George learned something that day. Sometimes dogs understand more than we ever will. They just can't use words. So they try other ways.